All right, welcome back for episode 2 of DeltPod. I'm Nathan Shapiro, president, Zeta chapter, Delta Tau Delta, one of the hosts, and I'm always joined by Alex Naiman, vice president. And today we have two very special guests, two podcast professionals, because they went with the BYOM, Bring Your Own Mic, Max Berky, Gautham Chitturu. Welcome.
Thank you guys for having us. It's a real honor. We're, very glad to be here. Appreciate the very kind words in the intro. We do have some podcasting under our belt, so we're just excited. We're ready to get after it.
I would say one word, summarize, psyched. Absolutely psyched.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you guys very much. Let's start it off like pretty deep. What's your favorite Netflix series?
So this is a tough question for me just because there's so many different genres. But I think right now, yeah, I would say Outer Banks for me, just because it just has everything that you said favorite Netflix series. It has everything for me. It has romance, it has comedy. It's got everything that I need. It's got action. So it also inspires me to, really get in shape because all the characters in there are in tip top shape. So
John B, what up, John B, my boy?
Yeah, John B is kind of a legend. So yeah, Outer Banks for me. What about you, Max?
Yeah, so I whispered in G's ear Outer Banks to start this because we're both huge Outer Banks fans, but I do want to keep it a little, diverse here. So I'd probably have to go Ozark. Ozark's are great. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Ozark's kind of scary, man. It's dark. It's cutting edge. So Ozark's great shows about money laundering in the Ozarks. I forget where that is. What state? It's like Arkansas or something. Missouri. Yeah, it's Missouri. You're right. No, great show. It's very long though. It was through quarantine, so it took me a couple weeks to get through it. Very, very long. So yeah, but Outer Banks very close second, I would say.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, I was really hoping for the Outer Banks answer. That's definitely like a top 3 for me. I think it's like a modern age Goonies type of thing. So
Wow.
I think it's great.
Yeah, I've also heard that about Outer Banks. Loved the Goonies, so I knew I would love this show right off the bat, and I was correct in my assumption. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. That's a great opener. And now we kind of want to get into how you got here, how you got to Case and Delt. So let's start off with you, G. How did you get to Case?
Well, when I was looking for schools, I didn't really think much of Case, in the beginning, which I think is true for a lot of, high schoolers who are coming out, because Case is kind of one of those low key schools that flies under everybody's radar, especially from an out of stater. I'm not from Ohio, so I'm from Massachusetts. So it was definitely something that flew under the radar for me. But I knew that Cleveland had a really good, area around it for medicine and stuff like that, because I knew I wanted to get into medicine later on. So there's a lot of really great hospitals around here, UH, Cleveland Clinic, Metro. So I was really interested in that. And when it came down to it, Case is also very good about, giving financial aid to students. So that was definitely a driving factor for me as well. So I'm a senior now, and I feel like I definitely don't regret my decision. So yeah. What about you, Max?
Thanks, G. Got to Case by a car, a little 4-hour road trip. Just joking. But yeah, so similar to G, I kind of didn't know what Case was about until my senior year. My dad was like, Case is a good engineering school. And I was like, oh, let me check it out. Checked it out, and he was right. It was a good engineering school at the time. Still is. Yeah. And I was like, all right, seems cool. Might as well kind of go up. So I actually kind of visited Case, saw what's up. And I was like, damn, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's just looks like there's a lot of opportunities there. Things like ThinkBox were kind of cool, and I actually do use ThinkBox. I know a lot of people say they were like, oh yeah, it seems sweet, but they never touch it. But yeah, so that's cool. Use that. It had that small school feel too, It just felt like a smaller community. I was kind of between Case and Ohio State. And Ohio State was just too big for me, I think. Case's campus felt comfortable. I visited. I really liked that. I actually went to Carnegie Mellon the next day, and I really didn't like their campus. No hate on our fellow brethren there, but I don't know. It's just something about this place felt good, and I also don't regret my decision 4 years later.
It's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Glad to hear it.
Thanks, man.
What would you say it has been like your favorite part since you got here? I guess what makes you say that you're happy with your decision?
It's a good question, Naaman. You have anything off the top?
I can go for it.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is Gautham here. I don't know. That's a tough one. I mean, there are a lot of things that I like about Case. I probably would say the friends that I've made is the best part about it. I know you could probably say, regardless of where you'd end up, you would, make good friends, but it's safe to say that I've definitely, met some of my close homies in Case here. And big thanks to Delt for that, because most of them are in Delt. So that's really, really cool. A lot of memories with the boys, a lot of fun times, bad times too, but it just makes the good times feel that much better. Right. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I could pinpoint one specific experience or moment that would be like the best time I had a Case. I would say, just appreciating all those small moments that you have with your friends. Those are the things that I'm going to remember the most, I feel like. So, yeah, that would be my answer.
Yeah, I'm once again going to play copycat here, but I'll change it up a little bit once again. But yeah, so I would probably go with friends as well. Just like I was saying before, the cohesiveness, and then my freshman year, my first year within Norton, our dorm, bless you, I felt a lot of kind of just like really good people, just meeting people for the first time. I felt like people were very authentic, which was really important for me. I was meeting people who like cared about development, cared about like things that were my interests, having fun, playing sports, like different things, like definitely like very studious and mature people. So sometimes mature, sometimes not, but but overall pretty mature. So that's good. But yeah, over those 4 years, just, hanging out with a similar group of people, having a main core friend group has been really great for me. It's something in high school I didn't have as much, but, really solidified that in college, which has been awesome. G was saying he's kind of missing an experience where that's kind of solidified him for himself. But I would say maybe G agrees with this because we both did it together. Sophomore year, the beginning of sophomore year, we were orientation leaders, and orientation was like interesting. It was like I had a lot, like very, very good time with everybody there, like the whole group, right? The actual like doing of the orientation wasn't the most fun, but like the leading up to it, the training and stuff, and hanging out with people. And we were at school like a couple weeks early, and it was summer, and running around and going different places and just messing around. That was really fun. Just that beginning of sophomore year, and honestly, a lot of sophomore year was so fun. I had a great time with that, and just being in the Delt house too made that probably such a great experience, honestly.
Yeah, totally agree with that for sure.
Yeah, that's great to hear that, that experience when you guys were in that group together was such a highlight of your time. And that relates to another group, Delt, while we're here. And I want to ask you guys, what brought you guys to Delt? How did you hear about it? What people did you connect with first? And, how did you get into this?
Yeah, I'm going to let Max go first on this one because he actually joined Delt before me. So, Max, you can take it away.
Thanks, G. So, yeah, Delt for me, it's like I was saying, we were in that Norton freshman kind of group, first year group. We were all hanging out, just messing around. And so we were like rushing fraternities was something we were interested in. And we kind of just went around. We kind of shopped around, tasted Greek life. I talked to Michael Wynn. That was my first experience with Delt, talking to Michael. He's my big now. Still on campus, actually, kind of off campus, but he's still here. And yeah, kind of got a taste of that. I talked to him a little bit, and I was like, hey guys, like we should probably rush Delt. And I think everybody kind of in our dorm had a pretty good opinion of Delt just by meeting people at this kind of Taste of Greek Life little fair around Leutner Pavilion. So yeah, we were like, oh, seems cool, whatever. So we went out, a couple events. I think we went to the barbecue, right? Kind of the block fair or whatever. Just had some good food there, hanging out. Saw the house. It's definitely a draw, obviously. Yeah, but talked to some people there, and it was awesome. Like met a lot of really good people. yeah, and I think just really connecting with the people and saying, this is a place I could fit in and make a difference and hopefully an impact on maybe not just the organization, but the people within it too. So really found kind of our place in that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, for me, so I like didn't think I was gonna join a fraternity when I got to Case. I just didn't really think it was my vibe. But Case, I think, does a very good job at opening up Greek life and fraternity life, to every type of person that comes to Case. So I quickly got very into the idea of joining fraternity. So like I rushed a bunch of different places my first semester, and then I really liked a couple. Delt was actually not one of them, just because I don't know why, but I just didn't really, learn much about them my first semester. I think I was just focused on other places. But that first semester, I like realized I didn't really fit super well with like those fraternities that I thought I liked initially. So I kind of took a semester off to not academically, but I didn't join a fraternity my first semester, just so I could figure out what I wanted to prioritize, like my academics and stuff like that. And then spring semester freshman year, I started becoming friends with a lot of the people in Norton, like Max was talking about, and they kind of convinced me to rush Delt, and I did. And I always tell people this when they ask me why, but I originally rushed Delt because my friends were in it, but I decided to join Delt because of the other people that I met that I didn't originally know. So I thought that was really cool for me, just because, I wanted to make sure I wasn't joining a fraternity just because all my friends were in it. I wanted to join because I felt like it was a good fit for me.
Mhm.
And, Delt was like the perfect fit for me outside of like my friends that were in it. All the guys that I met, I felt like I could, hang out with anywhere, have some really cool conversations with and stuff like that. And, I still feel that way to this day. It's like we really have a good group of guys, and, I just vibe with all of them pretty well. And, we focus on a lot of the things that I value in my life, like service and philanthropy and things like that. So I think overall it was just a really good fit for me.
Even to G's point at the end there, like, I mean, we do a lot of things together, like a lot of activities and whatnot, like physical, like doing things physically, but like I really like, honestly, just like there's a lot of times like a bunch of like us Delts like live in a house here, so off campus kind of, and I really like just love it's like midday, we're all just sitting here talking to each other, like we're all on the couches here, we're just messing around, and just telling stories or getting into like debates about really stupid stuff. Like it's honestly some of my favorite moments is just like going through that. Yeah, just talking again. I mean, it's just great. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing. I think like G hit on a couple really good points. Like one being that it's just kind of hard to learn about fraternities in the first place. And you kind of just like get lucky if you know somebody that can kind of give you an idea of any fraternity here. Something that we're kind of working on with the pod and just in general. But yeah, I think it's really important to try to get to know your surroundings, especially that Case.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, as you guys have both been in the chapter now for 3-4 years, what has been the most enjoyable aspect to it? I know you guys have touched on the friendships and the camaraderie. Are there any other moments or activities or pieces of being in the organization that you guys have really loved?
Yeah, that's a good question, Shapiro. I think it's really easy to say the big events like the formals or the day parties or even like service events, like kind of messing around there and having fun and doing service with some other people, some great partners would be the best. But like once again, like I was saying, like the living room chats we have here, like same thing. Like I love like sophomore year, like hanging out in the kitchen, like just like beefing with each other, like in a fun way, or like playing on the basketball court with each other. That's awesome to me. Like those like small things and like living in the 5-pack sophomore year, just like watching Kathan and Will wrestle each other. Just like literally some of my fondest memories. Like it's the funniest stuff. Like I just like think back to it. I'm like that. It makes me sad, really. Like I miss that stuff so much. Yeah, just things like that. It's that really makes me sentimental. I think about that a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, literally, I think the house is a lot of my memories, really. When I think of Delt, I really just think of the shelter. What we've done there, just awesome. I mean, just crazy stuff. It is really fun. I mean, it's nothing like state school stuff, but it's like It's great. I mean, I really enjoy it.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what Max was saying. Um, yeah, I totally agree with everything he was saying. I think specifically for me, I love a lot of the traditions that we have in Delt. A lot of those are like some of my, fondest memories. Like, we have circle walk every semester, and before COVID, it was really great. But we've still done a pretty good job to make sure that it's still interactive and fun, and on Zoom and stuff like that. So like that's probably one of my favorite times in Delt, like, or events in Delt. But also just like other things, like the way that we bring people into our chapter, going through ritual and stuff like that. I was the ritual director for a year, and I got to learn how important ritual is for us, and how impactful it can be for our new members. So like getting to go through that as a new member, but also just getting to see it from the other side as the person facilitating those events, was really, really cool. Also just like, some really cool things that Delt gets to provide for us. Like, I had the opportunity to go to divisionals when I was on the executive board. And like, that was a really fun experience for me, just to like be with a bunch of guys that I've known for a while, and, meeting a bunch of other Delts from different chapters, and, getting to experience that was really, really cool. Getting to win a bunch of awards, that was also pretty cool. Which we do pretty consistently, not to brag or anything. Yeah. But yeah, it's just like, it's really fun. It's just, something that I really appreciate about Delt is, all of those little things that you don't really get in other types of social groups and like friendships and stuff like that. Like, I think Delt does a really good job at, finding a balance between being, a structured, professional organization where we have certain events that we have to do, but also like fun little traditions that we get to do, that are just for us. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just like stuff like that. It really makes me, smile when I think about those types of memories, and, those memories to come.
Even I mean, this is an unpopular answer, but I kind of like low-key like chapter meetings when they're in person. Like I sometimes, or even like as a junior, or I guess sophomore, we lived in the house, but in freshman, yeah. So like those years, like when we had chapter meetings in person, it was kind of nice. Like sometimes there were weeks where I would go without seeing, or like a week without like really going to the house or anything, which is, people get busy. It's cool. But just being able to go to chapter and see, like, especially when you're younger, see all the older guys, that was always kind of like a high point. It was really nice to like just see them. And we've had like some infamous chapters, like some rush chapters that have gone like 4 hours, and you're there at 1 a.m. in STJ, and you're like, Jesus Christ, this is the longest thing in the world. And you like, I remember like Clancy, I think Clancy and I were like writing down minutes for the chapter as like a joke, and like we were just like making stuff up and like making fun of people, like in a good way. But it was just like we were like passing notes back. It was fun, like just stuff like that. I mean, it's good memories like that.
I kind of want to flip this on Nathan.
Whoa.
How's your experience been so far? What's your favorite part?
My favorite part of Delt so far. Well, I guess a little background for the viewers. I joined last spring, so I've only had about a month and a half or so of in-person Delt experience. Everything else was COVID, and I think with that, one of my favorite parts was probably the circle walk, in terms of like the in-person events I could, that I attended. Just because that, as G kind of mentioned, it's a great time where guys open up to each other, and everyone's just together in that same room, and you really feel that collective identity, just being grown. So that's probably one of my favorite in-person pieces. And then I also felt over the summer, when there was a lot of uh, issues with Greek life going on, I felt that the way that our chapter kind of came together to approach the situation and work through it in the best way that we could, I really felt connected then as well, just because we were all coming together to try and solve a common goal. So those are probably my two highlights in my short time. And then obviously, it's a great experience, being president and just being able to grow my leadership skills, and do fun activities like this. So that's probably my favorite parts of Delt.
Perfect. Thank you. I think I kind of want to move on a little bit outside of Delt and kind of get into your guys' lives a little bit. So let's start off with G. I believe you recently started an organization on campus. I think it's really cool. It's really cool, and it's been a pretty big deal on news and case news and Delt news. So can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. So me and Will Schwartzman, another fellow Delts, we started an organization called Universal Health Aid Cleveland. And it was about over a year and a half ago, July 2019. That's when we got started. And we did it because we actually knew of another Delt Zeta chapter, Rahul Bass, who was a part of Universal Health Aid Toledo. And what they do is, they hold an annual free health clinic for people in the area to get checkups by specialists, to get physicals for sporting events, and basically anything in between. And, I went to Toledo to volunteer at their event over the summer, that summer in 2019. And I, fell in love with what they were able to provide for their community. And I thought about, just starting one in Cleveland and seeing what we could do with it. So, Will and I were with each other that summer in Cleveland, taking the class together, and I proposed the idea to him, and we kind of just rolled with it. So what we do now is we kind of host a bunch of different projects that we do to kind of help alleviate healthcare disparities in the Cleveland area. So we've been very fortunate, to have resources provided to us by CASE and by the umbrella organization UHA, to help us out with a lot of our projects. But some of them included, creating COVID-19 pamphlets for, underserved communities and, in areas in which information about the virus and the pandemic is not easily accessible. So we created these pamphlets regarding, financial resources people can go to, healthcare resources people can go to during the pandemic, where people can get food from food banks, when they're running low on food, because, a lot of people have been unemployed ever since the pandemic started. So we had a lot of fun with that. We had a lot of success with it. We were able to actually distribute those pamphlets pretty well. So we were excited. We've penned a couple of op-ed pieces regarding vaccine distribution and how it should be prioritized in Ohio. And we were lucky enough to get that published by the Plain Dealer and Cleveland.com. And, we also penned another op-ed on the lead poisoning epidemic in Cleveland and how that needs to be an issue that is more readily talked about amongst, families who live in these areas in which lead poisoning can be a serious health concern for children, but also adults. On top of that, we have a lot of other stuff in the works. UHA is actually planning on starting their own podcast. So, for all the viewers out here, look out for that one. We're really excited about it, and we're planning on talking about, a lot of issues with experts in the field and, just trying to spark a conversation about how us as college students can actually affect change in this area. So, we have a lot of things in the works. We've come a long way ever since we started, and we're really excited for the future. So, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So
Berky, you are also recently involved, I think at a pretty high level, with the Entrepreneurship Club here at CASE, which I think is also pretty new. Talk about that.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Naaman. And thanks, G. That's awesome. It's really great work. And they have a meeting every day over there at UHA. They're working their butts off. So they're doing great work. Yeah, thanks, Naaman. So yeah, this is about a year ago we started. So I was taking a stages class with Michael Goldberg. I don't know if you guys know him or familiar with him. So Professor Goldberg and I, we took a class. It was entrepreneurship in Venezuela. So it was interesting. It was kind of cool. And it was like how to use entrepreneurship, modeled after Cleveland's entrepreneurship scene, and use that in Venezuela to kind of jumpstart their economy. So that was the whole idea. And we're kind of doing a deep dive into that. I was pretty involved in the class. I've always had an interest in entrepreneurship. And Professor Goldberg at the end of it, he kind of pulled me aside. He's like, hey, we have kind of an entrepreneurship club, but it's kind of dead. It's kind of a graduate student thing. He's like, I want you and a couple other people I got in mind to kind of jumpstart it. Let's create a new entrepreneurship club on campus. So I was like, yeah, that's great. So myself and a couple other people, Harry Grubman, Sonia Valu, Sunana Jampana Boyana, and Prithik. Forget his last name, Prithik Garathan. But yeah, we all kind of started the club together under the guise of the VL Institute for Entrepreneurship. And it's been a really good experience so far. I don't think we have as direct of a goal as UHA does. But what really excites me about Entrepreneurship Club is I think there's unlimited like opportunity and potential. Like there are so many cool things that we can do. And I think our scope is extremely large, and that might be a bad thing in some cases, but I think it's really good actually. Like, I think there's just so many cool things we can hit and do. So for a couple of examples, like one of the projects we undertook over the summer, and keep in mind, this is all over Zoom, right? And I'm sure UHA is running this problem. And I know Delt has a little bit too, like participation and things of that nature, especially like Entrepreneurship Club is very like participant heavy club. Like it's very important to get people there and doing things. So it's been very tough. So over the summer, a lot of students were hit hard with not getting their summer internships. They were canceled because of COVID-19. So the VL Institute for Entrepreneurship actually put out a program where it's called Remote Entrepreneurship Project at the REP. And I'm sure you guys are familiar, you probably heard of some students undertaking these projects. So they work with a local entrepreneur. And with that entrepreneur, they're kind of just doing different projects. I actually did 2 of them this summer. But yeah, as part of the Entrepreneurship Club, we kind of took it aside ourselves to do a actual like conference, like a speaker conference. So the kids that were in, and it was about 100 students, I think, that were actually in these REP programs, attended this conference where there were speakers. I think we had like 15 speakers, like professionals in the entrepreneurship field. Anywhere for like people like Prince Ghosh. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. He's in Y Combinator. He did startup. Like I'm actually like decently close to Prince. He's a great guy.
Prince.
But him to people who went to Harvard Business School and they have connections to Case. So really great diverse field of people speaking. And it was very well attended. I think 50 or so people came, kind of listened. Doorbell ring over there. Single, can you get that? Package. All right. So a lot of people came and it was awesome. So yeah, that was really enjoyable. We had a bunch of mini sessions on entrepreneurship. It was over Hopin, which is similar to Zoom, but a little different. So that was one of them. Some other cool things we're doing, like our coffee chats, where we literally just pair you up with a mentor, some kind of person in the entrepreneurship field, like an entrepreneur in residence that we have here at Case, that kind of helps you kind of jumpstart your idea if you have one. So we have our Slack, our communication channel, and people will, we kind of reach out. We're like, hey, we'll pay you $5 to go get a cup of coffee and go over Zoom and get a virtual coffee with this person. We do other things like Mentorpalooza, where we actually like have mentors and like just do speed dating with mentors. A lot of it's mentorship, kind of bringing up your idea, things of that, but we're really open to anything. In the works here, some exciting stuff is with USG. Actually, there was an initiative idea literally a week ago. I'm always trying with ideas, and this is an idea we had, but someone had an idea of kind of having this community fair where we bring out like local Cleveland companies and businesses. And they kind of showcase, what they do. And I was like, that's great. Entrepreneurship Club was thinking about that. We want to like showcase local small businesses in Cleveland area. Because entrepreneurship isn't just like the startup grind, what people think, like app development, like software sprints. Like it's not just that. I mean, it's the mom and pop shop in Little Italy that sells pizza. Like that's entrepreneurship. It's like pure entrepreneurship, like they're putting their butts on the line and trying to, make $1. So there's so many cool things. We want to get like career fairs for kids to get in these like small businesses around Cleveland. I mean, software companies, like medical device companies, everything, you hear me, I'm excited. I really get excited when I talk about this because it's unlimited opportunity. I'm sad to be leaving it in a year, but hopefully, can oversee what they're doing.
Yeah.
Thank you. I definitely want to shout out like you guys and the VL Institute. I'm not directly employed like through their REP program, but I got hooked up a part-time job through the VL
awesome.
Institute, and it's like just great. I think it's like a super underrated way for students to get a job, and obviously like they came in super clutch last summer when a lot of people lost their summer internships, and they're doing them all the time too. So.
Damn it. Something else too, I want to like point out, and I think this is a cool idea. I just want to flesh this out real quick. I think a lot of students, their first year, they love, and it's a big pre-health school. They love to get involved in research. And I think that's awesome. I think that's great. But, there's a lot of startup, and as we saw with the REP, there's a lot of startup like businesses around the US, like that can use like help. So instead of just doing research all the time, people that are involved in business or maybe even in sciences, like if they want to go or software development, if they want to go into a startup, their first year, kind of like their research and just do that through their 4 years, that's so much experience there. So it's like we have all these kids getting great research experience for med school or pre-health, whatever they want to do. But why not have that for the business kids or a software development kid, get them into like some kind of like research, right? But it's more of like a part-time startup gig. So I think that's cool stuff. And once again, that really excites me for people in the future, and hopefully we can pull that off.
Definitely. Thanks.
Yeah, the humanities kids can help too. Don't worry.
No, I'm saying even humanities. No, seriously.
But no, I really think that's a fantastic idea with the small businesses fair, especially coming out of a pandemic in which so many small businesses have struggled. So that sounds awesome. But I'm curious to know, so obviously you guys are holding leadership roles in your respective clubs, and you guys have also held leadership roles in Delt. So I want to know, how has your leadership experiences in Delt helped you with your leadership experiences in UHA Cleveland and Entrepreneurship Club?
I'm talking a lot. Give me a sec though. So I have a great story. I was my first leadership position in Delt. I was a social chair, and we were starting. What's up?
I said you're a social guy. That's solid.
Social guy. And I mean, these guys know the story, I'm pretty sure. But I had my first or second committee meeting, and I think some of these guys came. I was begging them to come out. So it was them and some other people. It's like a Wednesday afternoon or something nonchalant, and I'm like fleshing out these ideas, and I get this one member who I won't name, but good kid. But he starts like berating me. He's like, "This is the worst meeting I've ever been to," and he's like yelling. It's like my first or second meeting. I'm like, "Holy crap, man!" And he's like getting after me seriously, and I was really upset. I was like I ended the meeting like a little bit after, and I was like really pissed. I remember I was in the study room in Norton, and I was like fuming mad. I remember Anisha's in the room, and I think he talked to me after. I was like so pissed. So I was after that, it was a little bit trial by fire at that point, but through that and doing a whole like kind of year committee and being on recruitment as well and leading those efforts and just other things within Delt too. It really did form me into like kind of a leader who understands, people's time is very precious, how to lead an efficient, effective meeting. I'm currently I lead my senior design team right now too. And I run like awesome meetings, man. Like sometimes when people get a hold of the time, it gets a little long, but like if I'm on the ball that day, like it's going to be an hour meeting, and like we're going to get everything done that we need to get done, and I'll be able to delegate perfectly. So things like that. Recruitment taught me how to get people amped up about stuff. I think I did a good job exciting the guys. I know G or Naaman can probably speak to that, but yeah, I mean, leaders a lot of things, but it's a lot of it's personal things. It's personal relationships, and I think I learned a lot about how to have great personal relationships with people, excite people, understand where they're coming from as well. Sometimes there's blind leadership where people kind of do what they think is best for the group, but they don't listen. So a lot of it's just listening, understanding, what people want to do, and letting people speak up on their own too. I think those are some of the most important things. And Entrepreneurship Club, that's what we've tried to do. And every day, as a leader of the community, I try to empower those around me, let them speak, and just lead effectively.
Good stuff, Max. My first position in Delt was also social chair, and
so if you want to be a good leader,
be social chair first. If you're in Delt and you want to, whatever. Anyways, yeah. So I was social chair first, and this was also when I was still kind of like new in Delt, so I didn't know like a lot of people super well, other than like my friends who were in Delt. But I think I learned a lot about how to give people a voice. Like your job as a leader is not to impose your opinion and voice on others. It's to, create a platform in which other people can speak up, and, everyone can feel heard, so that we can all come to like a common understanding about what we can do. And I thought that, running social chair meetings was like a really good way of doing that, because I remember I had like, I feel like I can name drop here. If I'm not allowed to name drop, then we can just edit this out. But like I had like Michael Nguyen, Max is big. He was on my committee. I had Yin was on my committee. And then I think I had Tyler on my committee as well. Like a bunch of very different, Max came to a couple of my meetings. He came to a couple. But people who were just had very diverse and differing opinions about, how events should be run and stuff like that. And, I was trying my best to like hear everybody out and just try to figure out how we can, all, be happy with the final product. And I feel like I did a pretty good job with that. There was definitely like a pretty, substantial learning curve to it, but it definitely helped me with like my other leadership roles, throughout college as well. I was the president for TEDx CWRU right after I was social chair. And that definitely helped me, figure out how I can, give everybody a voice on the committee. Some people on the executive board had, less substantial roles than others, but I tried my best to make sure that everyone's opinion was equally valid. And I think, I did a pretty good job with that. But, my experiences in leadership with Delt, I would say have definitely helped me with my leadership positions outside of Delt, for those specific reasons. So I thought it was also pretty cool because in Delt, like one of the things that we've stressed, especially when we were younger, is like, if you are a younger guy, get involved very early. Like, don't sit on the sidelines and let the older people do the work. It's honestly the opposite. I mean, Nathan, you've been in the chapter for, you said in person for a little less than 2 months and you're already the president. You know what I mean? So that's something that I really like. It definitely molds you into a really, really good leader because we always want like the young guys, doing a lot of the work. And I don't know. It's pretty cool. It's just a really cool and unique organization, and I'm very thankful and appreciative for how Delt has been able to help me as well.
True. Abby just dropped a whole thing of McDonald's fries from the fridge, so that's what we're laughing at. Sorry, it's very funny. You gonna throw them away?
That's all right. No, but I appreciate you guys giving those responses, because I think another special part of the organization that you guys touched on a little bit in the beginning is just learning from the older guys and their experiences. So I certainly appreciate learning the skills and things that you guys have learned as leaders to help myself and Damon as well as we move forward in these next few weeks, and next few months of our terms. Let's see. So, Naaman, there you are. You're back. You want to knock out the last one here?
Yeah, I kind of want to reel it back in a little bit to ritual and our values. I like to pop this in for all of our podcast guests. I'm 1 for 1 so far. Basically, our pillars are truth, courage, faith, and power. You guys have had the opportunity to speak about this a lot, being older members. But which of those pillars speaks to you the most?
The age-old question. Truth, courage, faith, power.
Are you stalling so that I can go, or
this is just a podcast technique? You got it. I'm trying to think.
I'm all over it.
You're all over it. All right, go ahead, G. It's all you, bro.
So, as the guide at one point in this chapter, having learned a lot about our values and everything, I would say I identify the most with power. I mean, you ask any one of my friends, you say like, what's the first word that describes G? I mean, they say powerful, you know what I mean? But outside of that, that was a joke for all the viewers, but I would say I identify with power most just because power is the coolest one to me. I mean, truth and courage are awesome and great and good qualities that everyone should strive to possess, in addition to faith. But power is the most interesting one to me just because I think it is, the most unique one from our chapter among all other chapters on this campus. It's something that I feel like I definitely struggle with the most, but because of that, I think I value it the most just because I feel like I have the most to improve in that aspect. I'm a firm believer in, manifesting things. And I feel like, if I put in the work, I can achieve my goals. And I feel like that's definitely one of the aspects that, our value power really represents. So even though I'm not the best at it right now, I feel like, power would definitely be the most, would resonate the most with me right now. But, Yeah, I would say that would be it for me. Max, what do you think?
The age-old question.
Max still does not know. He has.
Nah, so I would probably go with faith. I wouldn't consider myself a super faithful person right now. In the past, I would say more so. Shapiro knows what's up. But the reason I would say faith is like I have a lot of faith in people. I have a lot of faith in like society. I'm just like I'm a very optimistic kind of guy. Like I just believe in like the best of people and the best of situations. So I don't know. I just think like I'm faithful, like that, like things will work out. Like I have like gut feelings and like, I don't know. I believe in like a lot of like things I shouldn't, but like it's just like it happens. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I have faith this podcast will work out. I believe in this podcast. But
That means a lot.
yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I would probably say faith.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being on the pod today. We really appreciate all of your fantastic insights and sharing your experiences with us and the viewers. And we're really thankful to have you guys in our chapter. And, you know, we're going to miss you after you guys graduate, but we appreciate having you guys on today. And we'll see all the viewers on the next one. Thanks so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys. Really appreciate what you guys are doing.
Thanks, boys. Let us know if we can be on. I think we're reoccurring guests now, so we have to come back.
I'd have to say you're right. Thank you guys very much.
All right. See you guys. Have a good day.